Marcus Webb stood in the marble lobby of Webb Technologies headquarters, his $1,000 suit perfectly pressed, a smirk playing on his lips. The 42-year-old billionaire CEO had just closed a $500 million deal. That's when he saw him, an old janitor pushing a mop bucket across the floor, his uniform faded and worn. Marcus laughed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Hey, old man! You missed a spot. Maybe if you weren't so slow, this place would actually be clean." The lobby fell silent. 20 employees froze. The janitor looked up, his weathered face showing no emotion. But what happened in the next 10 minutes would wipe that smirk off Marcus Webb's face forever. Because this wasn't just any janitor. Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you'll want to see how this ends. The billionaire Marcus Webb had built Webb Technologies from scratch, turning it into a billion-dollar empire. At 42, he owned 3 mansions and drove luxury cars. But success had changed him. The humble kid from Detroit was gone. Now he looked down on anyone he deemed beneath him. Last month, he fired a director in a board meeting for bringing wrong coffee. Last week, he made a waitress cry over a steak. Marcus had money and power, and he believed that made him better than everyone else. The janitor, the old man, was Henry Miller, 73 years old. He'd worked as a janitor at Webb Technologies for 8 years. Every morning at 5 a.m., he arrived first. Every night at 8 p.m., he left last. He wore the same faded uniform and never complained. He knew every employee's name and always had a kind word. But there was something about Henry that nobody knew. Something Marcus was about to discover. The stakes. This was about respect and dignity, about the dangerous idea that money equals worth. Marcus was about to learn you should never judge a book by its cover, and it would cost him everything. The mockery continues. Marcus stood near the elevators, still chuckling. Several executives laughed nervously with him. "Seriously, Henry," Marcus said, reading the name tag. "How long have you worked here?" 8 years. Still can't clean properly?" Henry straightened up slowly, gripping his mop. He didn't respond, just looked at Marcus with calm eyes. This annoyed Marcus more. "What, nothing to say?" Marcus walked closer, voice rising. "Maybe it's time to retire." "Go home? We need younger people who know what they're doing." A young employee named Jennifer whispered to her colleague, "This isn't right." But nobody spoke up. Marcus was the boss, the man who signed paychecks. The crowd gathers, more employees had stopped to watch. Some pulled out phones pretending to check messages, but recording. The receptionist, Maria, looked uncomfortable but stayed silent. Marcus was on a roll now, feeding off the attention. "You know what your problem is, Henry?" He circled the janitor like a shark. "You're invisible. Nobody notices you except when you mess up. That's what happens when you have no ambition, no skills, nothing to offer." He turned to his executives. "This is exactly what I talk about in my speeches. The difference between winners and losers. Some people build empires." He pointed at himself. "Others push mops." The executives laughed louder, though their faces showed discomfort. Henry's calm response. Henry set down his mop carefully. He looked at Marcus with no anger, just sadness. "Mr. Webb," he said quietly, his voice steady, "I've been listening to you for 5 minutes now. You've called me slow, useless, invisible. You've said I have no skills and no ambition." Marcus crossed his arms, that smirk still there. "Yeah? So what? It's the truth, old man." "Is it?" Henry asked. "Tell me something, Mr. Webb. Do you know who founded this company's original building? The one you bought and renovated 15 years ago?" Marcus blinked. "What does that have to do with anything?" "Just answer the question," Henry said calmly. "Some old tech company from the 80s. What's your point?" The first crack. Henry nodded slowly. "Miller Technologies, founded in 1982. We made the first commercial database software for hospitals. We had 300 employees and contracts with every major hospital on the West Coast." Marcus's smirk faded slightly. "Miller Technologies? Wait. My company," Henry said simply. "I was the CEO for 20 years. The lobby went dead silent. Phones stopped moving. Everyone stared. Marcus laughed, but it sounded forced now. You? You expect me to believe you ran a tech company? Not just ran it, Henry continued. Built it from nothing, just like you did with web technologies. The difference is, I treated my employees like family. Every single person who worked for me knew they mattered. The challenge. Then what happened? Marcus demanded, trying to regain control. If you were so successful, why are you pushing a mop in my building? Henry's eyes grew distant. In 2002, my wife got sick. Cancer. I sold the company to pay for her treatment and spend every moment with her. She lived 3 more beautiful years. Best decision I ever made. Several employees were wiping their eyes now. Maria, the receptionist, was openly crying. After she passed, Henry continued, I had nothing left. No company, no savings. But I didn't need much. I got this job because I wanted to stay busy, to feel useful. And you know what? I've been happy. Because I learned something you haven't, Mr. Webb. Oh yeah, Marcus's voice was sharp, defensive. What's that? That a man's worth isn't measured by his bank account. It's measured by how he treats people who can't do anything for him. The revelation deepens. Marcus stood frozen, his face pale. But he wasn't done fighting. That's a nice story, he said, voice hard. But it doesn't change the fact that you're a janitor now. And I'm the billionaire. You made bad choices. I made good ones. That's life. Henry smiled sadly. Bad choices? Let me tell you about choices, Mr. Webb. He reached into his uniform pocket and pulled out a worn leather wallet. From it, he took out a folded piece of paper, yellowed with age. This is a letter from Sarah Chen. She was one of my employees at Miller Technologies, a single mother with 2 kids. When she got divorced and couldn't afford childcare, I let her bring her kids to work, set up a small playroom in the office. You know what she became? Marcus said nothing. The chief technology officer at Microsoft. She credits me in every interview, says I gave her a chance when nobody else would. Henry pulled out another paper. This is from James Rodriguez. Worked in our mailroom. I paid for his college tuition because I saw potential in him. He's now a venture capitalist worth $200 million. He still calls me every Christmas. The lobby was completely silent except for Henry's voice. The devastating truth. I could go on, Henry said, putting the papers back. I have dozens of letters like this. People whose lives I touched, not because I had to, but because I could. Because that's what power's supposed to be for? He looked directly at Marcus. You asked if I know who you are. Of course I do. Everyone knows Marcus Webb, the billionaire who built an empire. But do you know what else I know? Marcus's hands were shaking now. I know that 6 months ago, you fired Tom Patterson because he took a week off when his daughter was in the hospital. I know you cut the janitorial staff's health insurance to save money while you bought your 3rd mansion. I know that 3 of your top engineers quit last month because you yelled at them in front of clients. Marcus tried to interrupt. How do you? Because I talk to people, Henry said firmly. The people you ignore. The security guards, the cleaning crew, the cafeteria workers. They all talk to me. Because unlike you, I see them. I treat them like human beings. The witnesses speak up. Jennifer, the young marketing associate, suddenly stepped forward. Her voice shook but was clear. He's right, Mr. Webb. Last month you told me I was worthless in front of the entire marketing team because I suggested a different ad campaign. I cried in the bathroom for an hour. An engineer named David joined her. You called me an idiot for asking about work-life balance during my review. More employees stepped forward, one by one sharing their stories. The dam had broken. Marcus looked around wildly. His executives had backed away from him. Even they looked disgusted. The final blow. Henry picked up his mop again. You know what's funny, Mr. Webb? You stand there in your expensive suit thinking you're powerful. But real power isn't making people fear you. It's making them better. He started to push his bucket away, then stopped and turned back. Oh, and one more thing. You know the company board meeting you have tomorrow? The one where you're supposed to present the new 5-year plan? Marcus nodded slowly, confused. 3 of your board members are my former employees. They called me last week, asked my opinion about your leadership. I told them the truth, that you're brilliant with technology but terrible with people. They're voting tomorrow on whether to keep you as CEO. Marcus's face went white. You sabotaged me? No, Henry said calmly. You sabotaged yourself. Every time you treated someone as less than human. Every time you chose your ego over decency. I just told them what I observed. The karma moment. Maria, the receptionist, suddenly spoke up. Mr. Webb, you have a call from Richard Morrison. Marcus stumbled to the reception desk, picked up the phone. Hello? His face went from white to gray as he listened. The call lasted 30 seconds. He set down the phone slowly. That was Morrison. He's the board chairman. They've scheduled an emergency meeting. They're considering my removal. Henry nodded. That's what happens when you forget that success without character is just temporary. Marcus sank into a lobby chair, his head in his hands. The great Marcus Webb, reduced to this in 10 minutes. The immediate fallout. Within an hour, the video from the lobby had spread throughout the company. By that afternoon, it was on social media. By the next morning, it had gone viral. Billionaire vs. Janitor trended on Twitter. The video had been viewed 10 million times. Comments flooded in. This janitor has more class than most CEOs will ever have. Marcus Webb just learned the most expensive lesson of his life. Never judge people by their job. You never know their story. Marcus's reckoning the board meeting happened the next day. Marcus was given a choice. Step down as CEO and become an advisor, or be voted out entirely. He chose to step down. But something had changed in him. That night he sat in his mansion, alone with his thoughts. He thought about Henry's words, about the employees who'd spoken up, about the man he'd become. He picked up his phone and typed an email to the entire company. I owe everyone an apology. Today I learned that success means nothing if you achieve it by stepping on others. I'm stepping down as CEO. I hope whoever replaces me treats you with the respect you deserve, especially people like Henry Miller, who taught me the most important lesson of my career. Character matters more than cash. Henry's choice. The next week, the new CEO called Henry into her office. It was Susan Park, the former COO, who'd always been kind to everyone. Henry, she said, we want to offer you a position as our culture advisor. You'd work with HR to help us build a better workplace. Full benefits, real salary, an actual office. Henry smiled. That's very kind, but I'm happy where I am. Pushing a mop? Making a difference, Henry corrected. I talk to every employee in this building. I know their struggles, their dreams. If I can help from where I am, that's enough for me. But he accepted one thing. Leading monthly workshops on workplace respect and dignity. Teaching young executives what real leadership looked like. The transformation Marcus Webb didn't disappear. He started a foundation focused on workforce dignity and fair treatment. He used his fortune to help companies build better cultures. 6 months later, he showed up at Webb Technologies at 5 a.m. Henry was there, starting his shift. Can I talk to you? Marcus asked quietly. They sat in the lobby. Two men who'd both known success and failure. I'm sorry, Marcus said, for everything. You were right. I had all the money in the world and no idea what it was for. Henry smiled. The fact that you're here at 5 a.m. tells me you've learned something. What's that? That the measure of a man isn't when he's on top. It's when he's been humbled and chooses to grow. The lesson. This story isn't just about one billionaire and one janitor. It's about all of us. Every day we make choices about how to treat people. The server who brings our food, the person who cleans our office, the employee who makes a mistake, the stranger who's struggling. Do we see them as beneath us, or do we see them as human beings worthy of respect? Henry Miller understood something profound, that kindness isn't weakness, and that true power lies not in domination, but in lifting others up. Marcus Webb learned it the hard way, but at least he learned. The question is, will we? Final thoughts and call to action. Never judge someone by their job title, their clothes, or their current situation. You never know their story. You never know what they've been through or what they're capable of. Treat everyone with dignity and respect, not because of what they can do for you, but because it's the right thing to do. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that will change how you see the world. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Comment below. Have you ever been judged unfairly? Or have you witnessed someone being treated badly for no reason? Let's start a conversation. Remember, success without character is just luck waiting to run out. Build your life on kindness, and you'll never truly fall. See you in the next story.